What if I told you the person retiring with $200,000 might actually sleep better at night than the one with $20 million? That sounds crazy, right? But see, here's the thing. Retirement isn't just about how much you have, it's the problems that you face at each level. I've been helping people plan their retirement for going on 20 years now, and in this video, we're comparing 3 different retirements, the one with $200,000, $2 million, and $20 million. And the real surprise is that each one comes with unexpected challenges that can make or break your future. So before you assume that more money equals less stress, let's take a closer look and let's start with that $200,000 retirement. Now, this is incredibly common because millions of Americans hit retirement with less than $250,000 saved. Now, the challenge is that it's all about survival at this point. See, retiring with $200,000, even at a 4% withdrawal rate, that's just $8,000 a year. So when you combine that with Social Security, you're living on $30,000, maybe $35,000. And that has to cover food, housing, healthcare, everything. I mean, inflation, well, that's terrifying. Unexpected medical costs, that's a game over. There is no room for error, and outliving your money becomes a very real fear. Now, if you find yourself in this category, there are a lot of key decisions that you're going to have to face. And one of the biggest ones is whether or not it makes sense to delay Social Security as long as possible to boost your benefit. Because with that being the main source of your retirement income, making sure you're getting the most out of the program might be beneficial to make sure that you can extend your retirement for a 20 or 30 year time frame so that your assets can last a lot longer. You also might want to analyze whether or not downsizing or moving to a lower cost of living area makes sense. Because when you've got Social Security and you've got a savings of around $200,000, even getting that 4% per year withdrawal of $8,000, that's just there to supplement anything that Social Security doesn't cover. You want to make sure that you're managing your expenses as much as possible. And if you find yourself in this category, then part-time work might not be optional for you. It might be necessary just to stay afloat. And one thing that you're going to want to make sure that you focus on is a budget. You're going to want to stick to that like a hawk because any major purchase needs to be rethought 5 times over. And if you ever consider anything like an annuity or any sort of investment that's going to tie you in for a long period of time, you have to choose very carefully. I've seen so many people, especially that have around $200,000 to $300,000 of savings, put a lot of their money into vehicles like this and lock up all of their liquidity for the rest of their retirement, and it becomes a very frustrating purchase when they look back at it. Now, if you find yourself with around $200,000 of savings, it's important to make sure that your investment management is something that you are taking very serious. And I've seen so many people get sold a product like an annuity or something that ties their hands for a long period of time. And the problem is that this money has to last you 20 or 30 years. This is the nest egg that you're going to tap into if there's any unforeseen medical costs, or let's just say you need a new car or a new air conditioner. You have to be able to have something liquid to be able to utilize when that time comes. So if you're ever thinking about tying your hands or putting it into an investment that you just can't get out of, you have to think very carefully. You see, for those with around $200,000, they might not feel like it's enough, but oddly enough, there's a clarity here. And when your options are limited, your decisions, they're a lot simpler. There's no analysis paralysis. And in a strange way, that brings a lot of peace to people because you know what your constraints are and you operate within them. But what if you've done everything right and you've saved and you've invested and you built up a $2 million portfolio? And it sounds like you're all set, right? Because, I mean, most studies out there show you need to have around $1 million to retire comfortably. And now there's new studies that say you need to have about $1.4 million. And you've got over $2 million. And now you've got a different kind of stress because at $2 million, you're not in survival mode. No, you're trying to actually optimize what you have. But that comes with its own pressure because you see, you have enough to retire, but not enough to make major mistakes. And the biggest threat that's going to face your retirement is what's called sequence of return risk. This is where bad market years early in retirement could drain your retirement savings faster than you think. You also have taxes to worry about. Now, this is especially relevant if most of your money is in pre-tax retirement accounts. Because with the popularity of the 401k over the past couple decades, most people have saved a lot in their employer-sponsored retirement plan, like a 401k or 403b, and that money's pre-tax. So every dollar that you withdraw adds to your tax bill. Now, there are a number of decisions that you're going to face if you've got around $2 million in savings, because you're going to need to have a detailed withdrawal strategy. You've got to think through, should you follow the 4% rule or should you do something more dynamic? If you've got most of your money in a pre-tax 401k, should you convert to a Roth in the early retirement years to minimize your future RMD taxes? Or how do you bridge the gap if you retire before Medicare kicks in at 65? You got to think through whether or not you're going to need long-term care insurance, or are you going to self-insure. Now, the one decision that you're going to have that catches a lot of retirees off guard is analyzing whether or not you're actually spending too conservatively. Because the amount of times that you're told that you can't run out of money and that you've got to be worried about the risks of running out of money and make sure that you've got this nest egg there for you. And so most people, they conserve what they actually spend, and they're missing out on the retirement they actually work so hard for. And I have conversations at least weekly with clients to tell them, you can spend more money. It's okay. It's built in your plan. Spend what you want. Live the life that you actually planned. You don't have to be so worried on the future, because that's what planning's there for. Now, there's a lot of upside, because with the right plan, $2 million can go a long way. You can balance your lifestyle and a long-term legacy. You can spend confidently and protect against risk, but only if you make smart, intentional decisions. But what about the retirees with $20 million? Because surely they've made it, right? I mean, that's got to be a level of wealth where you just feel like you're no longer on a full-time job. It's a vacation at this point. But let's talk about it, the $20 million retirement, because it does sound like a dream, right? There's no budgeting, no worrying about market swings, no waking up in the night wondering if you're going to outlive your money. But here's the twist. When you have $20 million, retirement actually gets complicated. And I've seen so many studies that the number one concern that people with 20, 30, 40, $50 million have, it's still the number one concern is running out of money. Even if you're not in the camp that's worried about running out of money, retirement does get complicated, because now you're not just managing your life, you're maintaining and managing your legacy. And wealth at this level doesn't just remove stress, it actually changes it. You know, what most people don't realize is that at this level, the stakes are a lot higher. They're not lower, because now you're exposed to estate taxes, which could take up to 40% of your assets over the exemption limit if you don't plan correctly. You likely have multiple investment accounts. You probably have real estate, even private businesses or alternative assets like private equity or venture capital. And you need to manage risk across multiple asset classes. It's not just rebalancing between stocks and bonds. You might even be the financial foundation for multiple generations, charitable organizations, or even employees if you own businesses. That's a lot of weight to carry. And for those people who've managed to accumulate over $20 million, the biggest wild card is usually family, whether that's blended families or entitled kids or adult children with no financial literacy, or even maybe kids that you love, but you just don't want to ruin. Because you're not just planning for your retirement, you're trying to avoid this cycle where these kids inherit money and they don't actually do anything with their life. It's a big worry that a lot of parents have. You also have to think through estate planning. You need to think beyond a basic will. You're likely using things like GRATs or irrevocable life insurance trusts or donor advised funds or family limited partnerships. Most people in this category, their goal is to reduce estate tax exposure and protect assets across generations. You've got a lot of tax planning that you're going to be doing, whether that's capital gains or passive income or K1s, carried interest, you name it. A mistake here could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars in unnecessary taxes. This is where your CPA becomes one of your closest advisors. Now, when you're thinking about portfolio oversight, see, your money isn't just sitting in an index fund. You're likely dealing with illiquid investments, carried interest, real estate partnerships, private lending, and maybe even hedge funds. Diversification and cash flow timing matter a lot in this category. And then there's family governance, because it's not just about who gets what, it's about teaching your family how to actually handle the wealth responsibly. So whether that's family meetings or financial education or inheritance planning, and I've seen some families that actually have governance charters. There's also things to consider like lifestyle creep and burn rate. And yes, even at this level, private jets, luxury properties, 5-star travel, it all adds up. And for example, if you haven't seen that new show with Jon Hamm on Apple TV, where he was the recent laid off hedge fund manager, well, in that show, it just shows you, even with so much money that someone's accumulated, his burn rate was so much throughout that show. I think at one point they showed his monthly burn rate was over almost $200,000. So if your burn rate becomes extremely high, it's just something that you want to watch for, even if you've got over $20 million saved. But here's the good news. There's so many tools that are out there to help create an incredible retirement and enduring legacy. And with proper planning, you can reduce or eliminate estate taxes, you can gift assets in a way that empowers, not enables your heirs, and you can support causes that matters most to you. In fact, you can fund charitable trusts, you can build generational wealth with clear structure and create a roadmap for your family to thrive financially and emotionally. But it doesn't happen by default. With people with $20 million or more, it takes a team, a real team, whether that's financial planners, attorneys, CPAs. So yeah, $20 million, it comes with options, but it also comes with complexity. That's why I say retirement, it's not a one size fits all. You see, with $200,000, the challenge is survival. With $2 million, it's strategy. But with $20 million, it's structure, it's legacy, and it's leadership. And if you're building towards any of these levels, or you're just trying to figure out what your retirement number looks like, then take the retirement readiness quiz. It's free, it's linked below. It'll show you exactly where you stand and the top 3 actions to take right now. And do us a favor, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who thinks $20 million means coasting through retirement, because the reality might surprise them. I'll see you in the next video.